Good morning, psych students. Hope it's been a good week so far. Today, I'm going to be talking about the experiment you saw yesterday, and that's kind of the how we're going to go about social psychology for a little while. Is each day I'm going to share a video with a famous social psychology experiment, and then you watch that, you watch what happened in the original footage, and then we're going to talk about it, and you can add to your notes the next day. So what we're looking at today was Solomon Asch's famous experiment on conformity. And if you didn't watch the video, you can go back. The link is shared on the Microsoft Teams page, and you can click on that and watch people in awesome 70s attire and haircuts conform to what the rest of the group is doing. So conformity, basic definition, a change in behavior or attitudes, brought about by a desire to follow the beliefs or standards of other people. A change in behavior or attitudes brought about by a desire to follow the beliefs or standards of other people. Of course, you can pause. We've all probably faced pressure to conform in the past. The idea that you would somehow stop being you to go along with the group. And that's one of the dynamics that social psychologists are interested in. At what point do we stop being ourselves and start following what the group wants? And that's really what Solomon Asch's experiment was all about. So, going back to the video yesterday, the YouTube clip, the people in the experiment were shown a picture like this, okay, with 4 different lines, and they had to say, okay, A is your original line. Which of the following, B, C, or D, are most like A? And clearly I can't really draw a straight line, so you just have to humor me and pretend that this is accurate. And what the people didn't know, so imagine that the experiment is, we bring in Kyler, and Kyler's our participant. Everybody else in the experiment is kind of in on the joke. Okay, so Ariel and Sophia and Hannah and Ryan are all told, we want you to say that A and B are the same. Okay, so they go around the room, and Hannah says, well, I think B is the same as A. Sophia says B is the same as A. And Ariel says B is the same as A. And up comes Kyler, and, what's Kyler going to say? Is Kyler going to say, well, that's dumb, what are these people thinking? Clearly it's D. D and A are closest together. Or will Kyler go along with the rest of the group? Hey, that was the question Asch was proposing. And to his surprise in the experiment, most of the people said, after hearing the group say that A and B are the same, a lot of the people went along and said, okay, yeah, A and B are the same. They went against what was obvious, that A and D are the same, because the group told them to, because the group said the wrong answer. Well, the group has got to be right. So that's what Asch's experiment was all about. So the stuff we'll be talking about today, just a few little notes, why people went along. Why are people willing to go along with things they know are wrong to conform with group opinion? Okay, so in your notes, you'll see there's a list of, get my head in front of the light there, 5 factors that Asch felt contributed to people being willing to conform, contributed to people being willing to say that A and B were the same when clearly A and D were the same. Why would people do that? So the factor number 1 is group characteristics. Okay? And basically with group characteristics, you could say, is this a group I want to be a part of? Okay? Is this a group of people who are desirable, perhaps higher in social status? Things like that would impact whether or not people want to go along with the group. I'll give you an example. If you've seen the movie A Walk to Remember, this is how the movie A Walk to Remember starts. In the movie A Walk to Remember, you have a group of the cool kids in town, and they're telling a kid, hey, if you want to join the cool kids, you will jump into this quarry. And so the kid who won, the higher social status of the group kind of influences him. Well, if I want to be one of them, I got to do this in order to join the group. And so he jumps off a quarry and breaks his neck. Terrible stuff, but a good movie otherwise. That's group characteristics. So social status and desirability of the group matters. Cultural influences. Some cultures, we like to think of ourselves in the West as being very individualistic. And there are definitely times when we honor iconoclasts and we honor people who go against the grain, and it's cool to stand up for what you believe in, things like that. That's not true in all cultures. Some cultures in social psychology refer to them as collectivist cultures, particularly East Asian and South Asian. You're supposed to go along with the group. So even if you know what the group is doing is not necessarily something you agree with, you might go along with it anyway. So cultural differences play a role. So group characteristics, cultural influences, your need for acceptance plays a role as well. Your need for acceptance, I guess a lot of it depends on your own insecurities. And you saw that in the video, they kind of had the voiceover people come in afterwards and say, oh, why should I go against the group? So that plays a role as well. The idea that perhaps you feel it's important to be part of the group personally, so you go along with the group. And we'll talk about this more with groupthink and group polarization next week. The situation matters. Okay, one thing you saw in the video yesterday was how Asch altered the as it went on. Asch altered the experiment a little bit, and one of the things Asch did, remember, in one version of the experiment, instead of saying it out loud, he had people write it down, and we had people write it down privately. They were more likely to go against what the group wanted when they were offering. They kind of putting it in private, maybe perhaps being in public, made them more likely to conform. When you had to announce your opinion, announce which lines were exactly the same, maybe you're more likely to go along with the group when everybody's looking at you and everybody's listening. If you could write it down on your own, maybe you're more likely to put A and D are the same as opposed to A and B. And the most important characteristic he discovered was group unanimity. Okay, so that's that last one, number 5 on there. Group unanimity. Unanimity, UNANIMINITE. In other words, how unanimous was the group? If the group was unanimous, people were more likely to go along with the group. If everybody in the group, or I said before, we had Sophia, Hannah, Ariel, all saying that A and B were the same. Oh, I don't want to stand out from the group. Why would the group be wrong? They've all got to be right. Okay. If there was one person willing to stand up, and he altered the experiment this way to put what he called a confederate in there who would disagree with the group, you are more likely to disagree too. If you saw one person, let's say there were the entire classroom of people, all 18 of you guys sitting around trying to figure out which 2 lines were alike, and Kyler's confused and scared as everybody says A and B are the exact same, and then Ryan says, you know what, A and D are the same. Okay, Kyler's more likely to go along with Ryan then. Kyler's more likely to disagree because there's that one person willing to stand up and go against what the group wants or what the group says. And that's group unanimity. And you saw that in the video yesterday. It kind of became silly the way they acted it out, how as soon as one person said it, the other person kind of looks at them, gives them a knowing nod, and like, yeah, we're the ones that are right. Okay, we know that A and D are the right ones, and everybody else is confused. But we found time and time again, we'll talk about this next week, like I said, with the idea of groupthink, is that if one person's willing to go against the group, others will also be willing to go against the group. Though I had a friend in high school who once said, even in not conforming, you conform to the nonconformist, which was mind-blowing stuff there. So that's Solomon Asch's experiment on conformity and the characteristics or factors that influence conformity. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Tomorrow we will get to Stanley Milgram's famous study, probably one of the more famous and unethical studies in psychological history. So we'll be watching again, like I said, watch a video on the experiment, then we'll take a day to process what you saw in the experiment. Until then, have a good day, stay safe, stay healthy.